This is Jonathan Ferguson, the Keeper of Firearms and Artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And I'm your host, Dave Jewett, and today we are returning to Raccoon City and breaking down some of the weapons of Resident Evil Requiem.
Alligator Snapper, eh? What is this?
So I'd be interested to see if you agree, but as we explore this game, if you get the same John Wick vibes that I did.
I was about to say, some of these reloads feel very slick and current year, shall we say. This is unmistakably the Taurus Judge.
Don't you mean the ghost Grudge?
I've got to say, as silly as this is, the guns in this game look great.
There is a longer, deeper, extended edition of this episode over on our Patreon, which also includes a couple of bonus weapons. There'll be a link in the description if you want to check that out. Make sure to like the video, subscribe for more content like this, and without further ado, I'll throw it over to Jonathan.
Right, we are straight in with really quite a nice job of the Beretta 1934, M1934. Lots of detail there. All the pins and bits in the right place. Yeah, I think they have definitely had, for an obvious thing to say, but they must have had a real one on hand for this. Even the shine of the finish. I assume there's a story reason as to why we have a 1930s Italian pocket e-pistol.
It's the first gun you get in the game, and I believe it's issued as a self-defense weapon for one of the care centers in the game. But as you notice, in first person, you're sort of looking over the weapon. That is something we'll actually turn to later in the episode, because that changes based on the weapon you're using and the upgrades that you put on the weapon. And one of the weirdest, most terrifying things about this Resident Evil is a lot of the zombies maintain a lot of their humanity.
Oh, that's what I thought was going on there.
We'll see more examples of that later as well. So playing as Grace Ashcroft at the minute, and Grace's sections are much more survival horror, and Leon's sections are much more action horror.
Yeah, well, I have a cursed gun to show you, which sometimes I'm able to do.
Bracing myself.
It's so shiny that the light is kind of reflecting off it. But yeah, mother of pearl grips and gold plated.
I feel like you just flashbanged me.
Yeah. Bit of engraving on the barrel, as well as all over the frame and slide. Now, unfortunately, these grips are very fragile. Yeah, so it can be conserved. We have the piece. I'm fairly confident we didn't drop it. In fact, if you look at it, it's got the remains of some sort of adhesive where they've tried to kind of. In fact, no, sorry, it's been clearly somebody has dropped it and then they have taped the bits of grip in place with some tape. So one day this will be lovely and conserved, I'm sure, but at the moment it's a bit broken.
Well, we will see a nice engraved pistol later. Maybe not quite as garish as that one.
Yes,
but we'll see.
I win for a change.
Get Brentwood locked down. Yeah, he's the one to thank for all the excitement.
Alligator Snapper, eh? What is this? Looks like it's P320 with a different grip frame and slide. Part of the idea of the P320 is this modular fire control unit that you take out of the gun and drop into a different frame, different everything in theory, but it remains the gun sort of legally and in terms of administration. So I think this is meant to be like a super custom P320.
So I'd be interested to see if you agree, but as we explore this game, if you get the same John Wick vibes that I did.
I was about to say, some of these reloads feel very slick and current year, shall we say, compared to the older games. Or even the last couple of games.
Well, maybe it's because this gun's so heavily customized, it's making me think of the TTI package weapons of John Wick and other similar guns.
For me, it was the handling. more so than the custom pistol. But yeah. Oh, and that retention position he's just adopted there. That feels very wiki. He's still got his traditional Resident Evil high ready going on. Yeah, that retention reload was the moment where I thought, they're going for modern gun handling here, even if his haircut is...
Press check.
Yeah, there you go. See? Can you just constantly press check for no reason?
There's still a bullet in this, right? Seeing how nicely modelled the iron sights are, it makes it a shame that you can't actually use them.
That is very odd. I was waiting for you to sort of... Or for the gameplay to reveal that was like just a sort of shooting from low ready thing, and you could actually bring them up and aim. But you
That's part of the upgrades to the weapons that we'll see a little later, but as you upgrade the weapons and add attachments, you will get a more down sight view instead of this over the top of the weapon view.
That's an odd choice.
Cool thing with this chainsaw, the guy was using it to attack you.
Yeah.
Then he drops it and it becomes like a ground hazard. Then a zombie who has no quote unquote experience using a chainsaw tries to attack you and gets dragged along the ground.
That is quite funny. It's happened again. Yeah, so we have upgrade parts, I take it.
Yeah, so you can find parts for weapons and you can also pay for parts for weapons later in the game. But the fact that they've lent into the Alligator Snapper and made the compensator look a bit like an alligator is very funny. Alligator's snout.
Oh,
and
yeah.
also
okay.
that makes me think of the Pit Viper from John Wick again.
With the silly fangs. Yes. Well, they're only silly if you use them as such. Yeah, I see it now. That's funny. They've probably looked at some of the same 1911s that I have, where I think we talked about it previously actually, where the dust cover is extended and there's like this slightly jarring looking mouth effect of the curves on the slide and the dust cover protruding. And they've gone, you could make that look like a mouth. Just to prove the point on the 320. So this is a very stock 6-hour P320. And I think from the general proportions, you can see that's what they're going for. And the controls on the side are there as well. The sort of narrow backplate legacy, really, of the old P250 design, which was hammer fired. And it was re-engineered to create the 320, and that's sort of blanked off now. That's visible in the game as well. But as I say, completely replaced basically all the components except for the fire control unit inside, which we can see through a little window in the polymer frame on our example. Ours is set up for a left hand for some reason at the moment. I will avoid the current memery around this pistol, and we shall take the high ground and move on.
While Resident Evil Requiem is very much a story about a supernatural threat, this week's sponsor is a more grounded look at survival. America Falls is a post-apocalyptic survival series by best-selling author Scott Medbury, and it follows protagonist Isaac Race as he becomes the leader of a group of survivors in the wake of a cataclysmic world-ending event. It's a high-stakes narrative that focuses on the real-world stakes that might play out if the world were to ever come to an end. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen. For one reason, it would leave a lot of miniatures unpainted. It's not about zombies or the supernatural Resident Evil, but it's very much a story about survival, and about the desperate fight for survival that a world-ending apocalypse would create. I've been listening to the audiobook series, which has been brought to life by the legendary narrator Adam Barr, a veteran storyteller of other audiobook series like the Fault Line thrillers. I've been recently travelling for work, and it has very much kept me on the edge of my plane seat. It's a huge series with deep lore to explore. Collection 1 is over 30 hours long and is available for just one Audible credit. It's also available on paperback, on Kindle, and on Spotify, and by checking it out, you'll be joining a passionate audience of fans, as this franchise has already garnered over 5,000 5-star reviews. You can check out America Falls by using the links in our description or in our pinned comment. Thank you again to America Falls for sponsoring this episode, and now we'll get back to the video. In In some of the marketing, this was referred to as a large caliber assault revolver.
Assault revolver. Oh God, it's a new low. I dare say it's descriptive, though. I mean, if you're going to use offensive revolver is what I would go, based on the old offensive handgun program that led to the Mark 23 pistol from H&K. Because this is clearly this is not a sidearm. This is in fact a handgun, a revolver pistol that you would, if you were ever going to use it for sort of fighting purposes, it would be your primary weapon, and thus, I guess you can call it an assault revolver. That's going to trigger some people. It sort of triggered me. Yeah, this thing is huge. So this is the Russia, or is it RSH-12? I can't remember. But it's a 50 caliber revolver from Russia. Unlike the pistols I guess the P320 is a fictional custom version, but just about everything we've seen has been pretty close to the real thing. This is actually, having checked, because we don't have one, I have to check, they have actually changed up the design for this. And I'm just paused on one of the rounds, which has a giant pointed bullet sticking out the front of it, which is very un-revolver-like, but sort of feels right for this game.
You see Grace using it here. Both Leon and Grace use this weapon as part of through the campaign. Grace struggles with it a lot more than Leon.
That's amazing. Yeah, if the Beretta had a little bit too much recoil for its let's be honest, quite a lot too much recoil. I mean, yes, she might not be as able to handle pistol recoil as Leon, but I think she's struggling a bit too much with that. It actually kind of does make sense that it's coming all the way over her head, because the recoil of this thing is tremendous.
If you have at least 5 rounds in your inventory, you'll be able to use a speed loader. But if you're just topping it off as well, there's different animations based on how much ammo you're missing.
Yes, that's cool. We see the struck primers on the fired rounds, which appear to be purple for some reason. Yeah, what a beast.
It's suitably devastating against the infected.
Overwhelming damage. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, there's definite room on there for a cross to be incised into the jacket or whatever, if we were fighting vampires. But we're not. We're shooting zombies. And it does make mincemeat of them.
Jesus.
Reaction to getting splattered. Oh, good lord.
I thought it was her hurting her hand.
Oh, okay. Yes, it was. Sorry, it was. Yeah. Which again is great.
Nice effect that someone that's because it's listed as a DSO pistol, so Leon's got more familiarity with it as well. So when she's given that, she's never seen a gun this big, and obviously, I mean, I'm pretty certain I'd hurt my hand shooting one of these things.
Yes, I think anyone would, to be honest. The sheer amount of this, essentially you're getting hammered in the palm every time you shoot it. It doesn't matter how much experience you have with it. Well, it does, but...
Well, Kentucky Ballistics complains about his hand hurting when he's firing those massive 500 Smith & Wessons.
Exactly. We can all feel better knowing that even Scott gets hurty hands.
Every single time.
The MSBG 500. Can I have a vowel, please, Carol?
Yeah. Showing your age there.
Oh, yeah, no. Can I have a vowel, please, Rachel?
Now, this looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, this looks like Mr. Serbu's version.
The Super Shorty.
Extended Steel Boy. Why is it called...
It's Iron Man, but...
Oh, maybe. Why is it called Steel Boy if it says explicitly it's lead ammunition? Is that a charm?
Yes.
God damn it. Even is nothing safe from charms.
Well, what's really cursed about this one is that for a second, it falls into the... As you're trying to insert another shell, it's in the way. It's falling into the shotgun.
That's even more annoying.
I'm getting sort of pattern recognition again, but putting the shotgun 180 degrees on the vertical to reload it feels a bit wick now as well.
Yes, it does. I mean, certainly not the first person to do that, but probably the most high profile. Certainly the most high profile.
And keeping the shotgun in the aim to reach over it and put a round in. I think they looked at a lot of the John Wick reloads.
I think so. I think from memory, 5 is way too many rounds for the Super Shorty. It's 3, I think.
Is it 2 and 1 in the chamber?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just look at how short the thing is. It's a compromise. This is why the magazine fed option, box magazine fed option, is an option. Because if you want a super short gun, you've got to try and up the round count some other way.
Must be time for me to service.
The classic 70.
Well, I think we know what. Well, it actually it does the flavor text. If you weren't getting it from the number and the look of it, the reference to the adoption by the U.S. Marine Corps. Yes, yeah. So we're clearly not using brand names. Pretty standard in this day and age. They've kind of gone as well. You got two options, haven't you? You either come up with a legally different parody name, effectively, like Blinchester or something. Or you just ignore that entirely and take the numerical bit like they have here, or you change it completely. But they clearly wanted to base it on a real bolt-action rifle, and the Winchester Model 70 is as good a choice. Well, it's either going to be that or the Remington 700, I guess, for something for a classic wood-stocked hunting / target rifle. I love the way that sling hangs.
He loves a sling.
I do love a sling, but some of the early attempts to make slings and straps realistic, they end up too floaty. They don't have enough mass, and they kind of whip about. This is hanging like it has real mass in space. I must admit, that hollow click is horrifying to hear. Even watching, like, these things are shambling towards you, and you think you've got a shot to keep one at bay, and you get that. Oh, there's a reason they call it Dead Man's Click. Ooh, okay, this is a pistol variant of, and that's as close as I can get to that, the CZ if you prefer, Scorpion with a C, Evo 3. Now that seems to have a much smaller grip on it. I mean, it's not a complaint per se, but I always think the Evo 3 has a hilariously long grip on it. And I have no idea why it's so long. And hopefully we can shoot this one day, because ours has the full rock and roll option, as does this. This is an Evo 3 A1, apparently. Not entirely sure what the A1 means without checking that.
Well, this is a REVO3 A1.
Revo, yes, because it's regally different.
Because it's Resident Evil.
Of course. Now, what you're lacking with the pistol is the very fun, I guess it's a neodymium magnet, stock closure.
The animation of Leon shoving the barrel in the zombie's mouth. That is something that if John Wick was fighting zombies, I think he would do. Yeah, I do. Again, I don't remember glory kills per se. I guess in some of the games there would be a grappling kill effect, but this does feel a bit like it could be Wick-fluenced. Absolutely coining that term. And it has a pistol brace buttstock on it now. I guess if that's what you found in the world, that's what you would put on there. Still gives you something to stabilize the firearm with. You can see the optics coming into play now. You actually get to aim the dang weapon. I really like the flicker effect of the reticle as well. I mean, I guess depending on the brightness, that's something you might notice. This would be another Mossberg, I would assume. So the name is, the designation is 990, and the other guns have sort of respected the numerical designation of the gun they're based on. Yeah, I think it's the 900 series Mossberg. But definite, yeah. Oh, the load on the shoulder, straight out of John Wick 2 and 3, I guess. Which, of course, in turn comes from the competition shooting world, where it's all about speed. I suppose if you're fighting zombies, speed is what you want. Yeah, well, both. Yeah, speed and accuracy. I mean, I guess any shooting in theory is about, well, not any, but anything replicating the sort of dynamics of combat requires those things. But in competition, you're actually scored on time and accuracy, or precision, I guess. But then you'll be adopting reloading techniques that you wouldn't necessarily. There's a lot that translates over to actual fighting, from what I've
gather. But standing in the open while like resting the shotgun on the shoulder while you reload, that's possibly one you wouldn't employ in combat. Although there's no need to get behind cover when your zombie foes do not have firearms.
Well.
Uh-oh. Have they gone full Day of the Dead on this?
We'll see. Great sound effect, though. They've really nailed all the sound effects on Requiem, honestly.
The effect of this thing is maybe a little excessive, if anything. Yeah, the Maxim 9. I don't know if I've seen a real one with Picatinny rail stuck to the bottom of it. I think that might be an gaming upgrade concession. An aluminum trigger apparently is a selling point of this version. I guess in terms of it being an upgrade for a polymer trigger, that makes some sense. I think that sounds. What do you think? I think that sounds pretty good. There's a little bit of the pew there, but it's pretty close to what the real thing does. They've got the seams for where, because you sort of build it up like almost like a kit as to whether you want super short, as short as possible, or full length, maximum suppression, or a step in the middle.
Stealth only lasts so long in Requiem. Once you've landed more than a shot or two, they will start figuring out where you are. And as it gets more and more hectic, the benefit of a silencer sort of disappears.
I think I'm hearing the impact of the bullet as well.
Yeah, especially at close range, either into an enemy or into the concrete behind them.
It almost feels a bit delayed though, like the bullet's impacting and then there's a thud slightly after the fact, which is and far too much of a lag for the close range that we're at here. I mean, having been lucky enough to put a few rounds through well rods on a couple of occasions, there is a very audible thwack of the bullet hitting cardboard target or even a berm, and it's surprising. Like it's like pop thwack at about 15 yards or whatever. Whereas here, it seems the sound effect kicks in at with the same lag, regardless of distance, I think. Oh, hello.
So something a bit bigger.
Just a bit. Some sort of, I'm not entirely sure. I guess it's meant to be like an automatic mortar.
There are infected BSAA soldiers firing this at you. So you mentioned some of them using firearms and guns. They use something a bit bigger.
That's funny. So they maybe don't have the fine motor skills to use a firearm, but they can slap that button. It's an odd weapon because it's reminiscent of some of the modern automatic mortars. Medium mortars or whatever, but the munition appears to be rocket assisted, but is on an arcing trajectory. It's like it doesn't know whether it wants to be a mortar or a rocket launcher or a recoilless weapon. I mean, there are rocket assisted mortar bombs. So, but in common with what we said recently about bigger weapons often not being very faithful to the real thing because people don't know them as well, either the makers or the users of the game. I think this is another case of give me a generic modern heavy weapon that looks a bit like something I might have seen on the back of a vehicle on the news or something.
When I first saw it, because of its sort of strange arrangement, I thought it was like, is that a scaled up Denel Por 20? I think I'm just drawing from the blockiness of each weapon.
Okay, I am actively cheating here, but I dare say the Rheinmetall mortar weapon system might be what they've based this on. It even has the screen off to one side. Similarly boxy with the hydraulic piston elevation system. It's not an identical match by any means, but I would guess that's the inspiration for it. The Clatter Carbine seems to be a very oblique reference. Well, actually, not that oblique. Not that oblique. Some people think that the SIG MCX Rattler is named for the snake, and indeed they did make that sort of cross-reference later on, but it is absolutely named for the rattling that it gives you when you shoot it, in particular in 300 Blackout, in particular in automatic, Ours, sadly, is in 5.56 and is semi only. But it is a genuine rattler. It's implying it's the rattler, and it's sort of most of the way there, but it has way too long a barrel. Now, is that been customized, or is that just the barrel length?
So this comes pre-customized. This is one of the sort of bonus weapons that you get for completing the game. A lot of these bonus guns, some of them are very similar. It's almost like a reskin. This is very similar to the REVO3 in terms of its ability.
If they kept the barrel length at where it should be, which I think is 5.5 inches, it would actually be a perfect analog to the EVO3 because they're very, very similar packages. Just one's pistol caliber, one is rifle caliber. But by making it essentially just an MCX, guess it's meant to be an LT, with a longer upper receiver and barrel assembly, it's not a rattler anymore. Guess they're going for like the suppressed 300 blackout variants. Oh, in fact, yeah, we have developed at the request of the Elite Special Operations Unit Delta Force. So they're going for the Seesaw, I think it is. There are Razor. There are a few different short variants.
You can see some of the enemies there. The infected soldiers still are using guns. They're just not great at aiming them.
Which is what we see in those Romero movies, where they're trying to use them, but they can't really get them on target, but they're still dangerous to be around. This is unmistakably the Taurus Judge, which we haven't got still.
Don't you mean the ghost Grudge?
Yeah, that feels the most like a sort of joke. Ah, okay, and it's not quite a Taurus Judge because it's using the giant Russian revolver cartridge.
Similar to the previous gun, this is, all intents and purposes, a reskin of the Requiem. It's just you get a shiny engraved gun that does basically the same thing as a reward for either completing the game or other objectives.
I've got to say, as silly as this is, the guns in this game look great. I always think if you can see the drag lines on the cylinder on a revolver in a game, your texturing person has done a good job. Where the cylinder stock drags around the finish as the cylinder rotates, because it has to pop into the little slots to index, so it inevitably mars the finish.
I say it's the same as the Requiem in terms of functionality it is, but they have modelled an entirely different gun. Like the Requiem or the RSH-12, it fires from the bottom barrel. This is firing from the top. So in terms of the reload and how it handles, they've made it meaningfully different.
Yeah, I'd say the same for the MCX variant as well. It does seem to behave quite differently to even if it's filling the same notch and is somewhat based on it, it's different to the Scorpion. You don't feel like it's a reskin. Oh, I'm not enjoying this environment.
It's a bit too dark.
Something about broken ceramic tiles as well. Maybe I've just watched Saw too many times. Like grubby, bathroom adjacent, dark rooms are extra creepy.
So this is the final thing that really cemented, yeah, they've been watching John Wick.
Oh, of course. Almost exactly the dueling pistol from the end of John Wick 4. The Thompson Center Encore, is it? If I remember rightly, from last time I looked into it for John Wick 4. We've got a few of we've got the Contender and some variants around that, but we don't have the modernized Encore version. Same vibe, but it's quite different.
Immensely powerful, but that one round get you in some trouble if you're not careful.
Oh, what's it? Is it meant to be in 308?
It uses rifle ammo, so the same ammunition you'd be using for the Model 70, the classic 70.
Yeah, so it will be 308. It probably is a 308 model. The one that sticks in my mind is the I guess 4570, which was in Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme, wielded by Lance Henriksen. I'm not sure, and I'm not going to go and try this with our older Thompson Center pistols, but that seems a slightly excessively slick reload. I don't know that would work as advertised, but maybe.
I really like the reload of holding one of the rounds in between your fingers. That's very slick. It's about as slick as you can reload one of these things.
Yeah, you can imagine how that would go if you had to do it for real, though. You'd drop them all in panic, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, big time. It feels suitably Resident Evil. I might even say it feels more Resident Evil than it does John Wick.
Yeah, I guess if you hadn't seen John Wick 4, you would assume it was just appropriate to the franchise. But since we have, and we've seen all of the other tactical stuff in the game, I do think that's a direct nod.
Hey, worse things to be inspired by when it comes to gunplay and weapon selection. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll have another coming same time next week, so make sure you subscribe to avoid missing out on that. And if you liked the video, let us know in the comment section below and hit that like button. As always, a massive shout out goes to our supporters over on the Patreon for supporting EXP and for allowing us to continue to make cool content like this. I also want to give an enormous thanks to Jonathan Ferguson and the Royal Armouries. There are links in the description below to support those wonderful folks, so make sure you check those out as well. But until next week, thank you again for watching, thank you for being here, and we will see you very soon.